Hey everybody, welcome to Workforce Gaming. I'm Brad, here with Doug.
Hey.
Doug's dreams recently came true because Tony Hawk 1 and 2 was
Yes.
brought back to life, remastered, remade. It was pretty
Remake
much
for
ground
sure.
up, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So Tony Hawk, I think for both of us was one of those weird games where like I could never skateboard to save my life, but I
No.
loved the hell out of Tony Hawk games back in the day.
It always made me want to skateboard. Actually, man, after I played this game, I Googled how to do an ollie, and then I was trying to figure out if I need to buy a helmet, and then it's like, okay, and then how much is a skateboard? And the thing that made me pause, the thing that made me pause is I wasn't sure if my insurance would cover a skateboard accident.
Wait, are you saying like now or like when you were a kid?
No, like now. Like I
Okay.
did it. I did this on Saturday.
I thought you meant like when you were like 12.
No. I mean this like today. I mean this like today. I was like trying to figure out like what I need to do to do an ollie. Like what do I need to do? It's like I'm 31. I think I actually have the dedication to figure out how to do an ollie. But
and
it's
then
the thing that's really
and you
funny.
literally like had to think about your health insurance before you...
Well, no, exactly. I had to think about it as an adult. It's really funny. There's actually a Tony Hawk. There's a new song they added, and it's called like 20-year-old. It's called Mid 20s Skateboarder, and then the main tagline is Mid 20s Skateboarder. Hope I don't get hurt, which is like, and that's made me think. I was like, "Ah, maybe I can't do an ollie, but this game this game is good. It made me want to do an ollie. It made me want to do an
I
ollie.
completely thought you were talking like when you were 12 because I definitely like borrowed my friend's skateboard and like attempted it to like ride it down my driveway and was like,
Yeah,
nope, this
yeah.
isn't for me.
I definitely spent like a weekend or two. Actually, my dad bought me a skateboard and then it got stolen before he gave it to me. So I could have been a pro skater and we just will never know.
If
We'll never
only
know.
it would have been
Yeah.
Doug's Pro Skater 1 and 2.
No, I would have been a guest skater in like Tony Hawk 5, the shitty one.
Or Downhill Jam or whatever. But anyway,
Yeah. I
um
was the guest character. Yeah, it's very funny. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so I didn't get a chance to play this yet because I was busy playing Avengers. You were playing this.
Yep.
Is it as good as you remember? Because that's one of the things with this where it's like I remember this
Hmm.
being amazing, and then like every time I go to play like a new skateboarding or snowboarding game, it's like I feel like these were better.
I hate this question.
Oh,
Um, no, because it's the right question to ask. Because I had an answer ready for a different question. Um, if you're gonna ask, like, I thought the question was gonna be, how is the remake? The remake is amazing. It is a very, very good remake. And then your question is it as good as I remember?
well, because that's what I always think about when I go back to play a
Yeah,
game. Is in my mind like this is the in my mind it's like three, but these are like the pinnacle of like the snowboard skateboard games. And I remember going back and playing this on my Dreamcast that I broke out of a
yeah.
box like 5 or 6 years ago. I was like, oh, okay.
Hmm. Because I don't want to start negative.
Okay,
No,
so how
okay,
is
so
the
okay, for
remake?
example, yeah, no, okay, so for example, it's not as good as you remember it. That doesn't mean it's not a very, very
No,
good
well, yeah,
game.
for
Like
sure.
it is probably the best Tony Hawk game. I think the thing that hampers it the most is that it's a remake of 1 and 2 and not a remake of 3 and 4 and the ones where they had just better levels.
Okay, yeah,
I think the thing that holds up the least, because they took what they did is they took a bunch of the mechanics from later games and brought to Tony Hawk One
yep,
and Two. I think the thing that holds up the least is actually the level design. They
okay,
actually did a lot of things to the levels which like made them better. But if you think about like Tony Hawk One and Two, usually if you're thinking about like your favorite level, it might not actually be from Tony Hawk One and Two, or if it is, when you play it now, you're like, oh, that level is actually a lot smaller than I remember. Because like when you get to the city levels in Tony Hawk, it's like, holy crap, these things are so big.
yeah,
And now it's like they're not as big. They're the correct size of whatever it was.
hmm,
So I actually think the level design more than anything is what kind of holds this game back, because it's made by that guys who did the Crash remake,
yep,
which is also a very more true to
hmm,
form remake of it. Luckily, they did. I think they did way more tweaks to this one than they did to the Crash one. But because the remake, because they adhered so strongly to that early level design, it
yeah,
feels sometimes like there's early level design stuff. Like one of the things that um, so one of the mechanics I forgot about is, so you go through the levels and you have like these sort of challenge. I guess what you call them, like competition levels, where
hmm.
it's like get the gold medal sort of thing. Those competition levels suck, and there's like four of
I
them.
say I don't even remember those. I just remember collecting the
Yeah,
word skate and getting tapes.
yeah, and those are the levels where, but there's actually four other levels that I didn't remember and you didn't remember, where it's just you just have to get the gold medal, and
Hmm.
they're really small, and they're like in a skate park, or just like I think the last level was kind of cool. So it just feels like the game, like I just was waiting for it to like just blow up in something really cool, and it's like it never really did that because it's just like always hampered by early Tony Hawk level
Yeah.
design. Um, but the thing is, it's like the best Tony Hawk mechanics ever. It is like it is exactly playing it is how you remember playing it, which is actually an amalgamation of you playing it for I have like 7 different games.
Which is nice. I
So
think that
it
was the issue
plays
with the
like you
Crash,
remember for sure. Hmm?
which is weird because I think that was the issue with the Crash one was that it played not like you remember, it played how it actually
Yeah.
played, and you forget those little twitches. That where you're talking about that level design, can you see an evolution then from one and two? Are those all mixed together? Is it like one? Is it like very clear, like you're in
Mhm.
one or you're in two, or are they like mixed together?
Well, it's kind of cool. So like they kind of use it as like the uh, uh, you're gonna I don't want you to flinch when I say this because it's actually I'm using it in a good way, is that they're using Tony Hawk as like a platform.
Okay.
So like you have your same creative skater, like your main menus and stuff
Yeah.
are all sort of like tied together. And then your campaigns are kind of set up as like here is your Tony Hawk 1 campaign, here's your Tony Hawk 2 campaign, and here's
Okay.
just a list of levels to go through. So it's not like I turn on Tony Hawk 1, Tony Hawk 1's a totally separate thing. It's more like I'm playing the platform of Tony Hawk. There is a Tony Hawk 1 campaign, a Tony Hawk 2 campaign. And it's I mean, really, they could all just be in the same playlist if they really wanted to, but it's kind of cool to see, like, I
Yeah.
100% of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, I 100% of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. Um, it is kind of cool, though, because when you do hop, like, from Tony Hawk 1 to 2, I would say it doesn't feel like, because I think the question is, like, are they all jumbled together? They're not, they're, like, really separate. It doesn't feel like a jump in level design, but it feels like a different thesis in level design, which is kind of cool to see. Like the Tony Hawk level, Tony Hawk 2 levels like a little bit bigger. There's like a little bit more like lines that like more combo lines and that sort of thing. So it's kind of cool to see that evolution. Yeah, and they could also easily slot in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. I think they probably have some trouble with some of the later games, but I think like three and four should come out as DLC. It seems like they've like literally built a platform for it to like throw on 3 and 4. And that's another $40. Like, sure, I would be willing to pay that like fairly easily.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense because I think once you get past four and you get into underground, and you very much have those two generations of Tony Hawk games. So it almost makes
Yeah,
sense to have this be like early Tony Hawk package, and then if you really are like feeling it, then you make that next full release be the underground two, that whole
yeah.
package. Um,
Yeah, and the thing, like they brought in so many of those mechanics from those later games that like it would only make sense to include them.
but I like that like that you actually go and okay, what is this series as a whole then? So we're not just kind of remaking these
Mhm.
shot for shot, so to speak, where we're trying to actually make this
Yes,
the
yeah.
Tony Hawk you remember. And I think that's almost where they've kind of failed over the last couple of years, like when they did five, where it's like, okay, like let's
Mhm.
make a this, and it's like no, just make the Tony Hawk I remember playing. That's what I want.
Yeah, and it's weird because it feels like sometimes I think the thing that's kind of funny is like actually Vicarious Visions going from Crash to this because I feel like Crash was like a more straightforward remake. I mean, obviously like the art design was like
Oh
cool, like
yeah,
they redid a lot of the art, but they really like no, we're gonna keep it exactly like this. But this one like no, we're gonna make it the game that you remember and sort of thing. I like that they kind of went a little bit more out there with these remakes on this one at least, where they're like, okay, we're just gonna like redefine, not like basically create the definitive version of what a Tony Hawk game
yeah.
is. The thing is, like, I think a definitive vision of a Tony Hawk game isn't necessarily Tony Hawk 1 and 2, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah,
um,
but I think when you look
yeah,
at the best remakes, that's what they did. Like Resident Evil 2 is not
yeah,
that. Shadow of the Colossus is not that. It's okay, let's update this. Let's make this what you remember. Let's make this what this always could have been if we were
yeah.
making it in
And if
2020, not let's just remake the 1998 game and call it a day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I would say it's a little bit more true than like Resident Evil
Yeah,
2 or
well,
something
yeah.
like that, but it's still like kind of it's more than just a standard remake. And I think the one thing that I forgot to talk about, the game is like gorgeous. It is insanely
Really?
good looking. Like I was surprised. I was shocked how good looking it was. Like this game shouldn't look this good. It's fun. It's got like a cool attitude that I like um as well. It's like not as I think Thug was like too far.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
stupid jackass
Yep.
stuff, but it's like it's still like I don't know. My parent, it's like the consumerism sucks. Like it's that kind of
It
attitude. It's not like super hard, but it's just like a
it's
little bit left
it's
of
it's more
some
that
sort
like
of thing.
punk attitude versus that like holy
Yeah,
embrace destroying everything that I think
yeah.
Underground and what was the one after Underground?
Underground
No, there
2
was one more.
and Wasteland.
Wasteland. That one I feel like was the one where I was
Yeah.
just like, oh my gosh, I can't handle this.
Yeah, it's got like a little. It's got like just. I think it's funny because like it's got just enough attitude. Where I'd say that Tony Hawk 1 and 2 didn't really have any,
Hmm.
and then like Thug had too much. It's just kind of like it's like a nice like I'd say it's an amalgamation of like what you were thinking of a Tony Hawk, where it's not super hard, it's not super
So
this.
I'm trying to think back to objectives because in my mind, the first one was very much just like collect the letter skates, get the high score, that sort of thing. And then once you
Yeah,
got to the further in games, is where you had the weird like go like tackle a dog or whatever.
yeah.
What are the objectives in this one? Just because I can't place what 1 and 2 was.
It's mostly skate. It's like mostly pick up skate. It's like very clear. There's like I think Tony Hawk 2 has like one that's kind of like that, but it's mostly like collect skate, unlock. The one thing I really like they do is like they do this thing where it's like you unlock an additional part of the level. Like that's always my
Oh,
favorite
okay.
thing. It's like you grind this one rail and something falls
Oh
over,
yeah.
and all of a
Yep.
sudden like there's another skate park behind it. Like that's always the best part. So it's mostly collecting stuff and mostly getting high scores or doing a very specific trick on like a specific rail sort of thing.
Oh
So
yep.
like I'd say like to 100% the game took me like 5 hours maybe. It's not a long game, which is kind of a bummer.
For both like 1 and 2 combined, 100%.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think it was like 5 or 6 hours.
I guess yeah, because I'm in my mind I'm thinking these things had like 10 or 12, 15 levels each.
They have like it depends how good you are at Tony Hawk, and I don't want to be like I'm very good at Tony Hawk, but like I can do the thing where like in a combo I'll get the pro score, the high score, the pro score, the high combo score, and the sick score like all at once. It's like done.
So for us
um,
normal people, probably take you
I don't
10 to
know. I mean,
15 hours, triple my time.
if you were good at Tony Hawk, like you're gonna blow through this game really
I
quick
was
if you're good at
not.
Tony Hawk.
I was not.
You
I
were not.
Oh no. I was like, let's turn that infinite grind on. Let's
Oh, it's actually
the
funny.
big
Those
air
actually
stuff.
all those cheat codes are accessibility options now, which I thought was
Oh
like very
really?
clever and smart.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
No, I just like that's like the one thing I remember is like trying to like get like could I max out the thing you turn an infinite grind on? I remember like turning the TV off, going upstairs, eating dinner, coming back downstairs.
Oh yeah, yes, you totally like. I remember that there's a bowl or something you
Yeah.
can go around in a circle
Yep.
sort of thing. You turn the yeah, you can do that now. I think they cut off some of like the you can't get like there's a certain separate you can call them daily challenges sort of thing, but like do this very
Yeah.
specific that's separate from it. I don't think you get credit for those, but you
Okay.
do get credit for like the main game if you want to. Um, do that sort of thing. It is cool. It's fun. It's just like the thing is like it feels like they made Tony Hawk has so much potential.
Mhm.
It's like I can't wait for like the next and it felt like I just kept waiting for the game to really kick off
Yeah.
with the levels and stuff and it just never really did because of that. But it's still like amazing. If you never played Tony Hawk, this game's like fucking amazing. It's $40. It's like it is the best possible remake of 1 and 2.
So I guess that was kind of my last question was if I didn't have that nostalgia for Tony Hawk, if I'm not thinking back to being like in middle school and playing Tony Hawk every night,
Mm-hmm.
is this still something that you think somebody brand new could jump into, or is it going to be one of those things where you're like, oh, like the newer skateboarding games do so much more?
Oh, I think it's such a unique game. It's because to me it's more akin to like Bayonetta and like Devil May Cry.
Explain.
It's like you're doing very specific button presses to get combos. Like the game is to do combos
Yep.
and to not necessarily just do a kickflip. It's to do 30 kickflips and then grind a rail and do a this and do a
Oh,
that. Like
okay. Yeah,
that's
I
the
get what you're
game.
saying.
It's comboing and that sort of thing. It's more stylish combo y sort of thing.
Arcade
Like,
versus
I would
simulation.
honestly say if you're a fan of Devil May Cry, you should pick up Tony Hawk.
I think that's a great place to end this.
No, it's good. I think it aged better than I'd say most remastered I play. Like I got the Spyro remaster, I got the Crash remaster. Revisiting Tony Hawk, I was like, oh, this game is still very good.
Nice.
Sort of thing. It's not a good for its time. It's a good for it now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm looking forward to picking this up, but
Yeah.
Avengers, that's a
Sure.
game.
Yeah. It is. It is a game.
All right. Well, we are Workforce Gaming. You can follow us on Twitter at Workforce Gaming or subscribe to us wherever you're listening. We'll see you later.
Bye.